Hey guys, how you guys doing? Welcome. I'm so happy to be here today. I want to talk today a little bit about a topic that is, um, I really think, important because, um, we're going to talk today about fear, and we're going to talk about how to step out of the fear zone. I think that a lot of us this year have experienced a lot of fear, but I know that in life we have many times dealing with a lot of fear in our life. And wouldn't it be like super awesome to just not have any? Wouldn't that be really cool? So today I just kind of want to touch a little bit about fear and about how we can maybe better look at it. Because I think a lot of us, and myself included, I've done this myself. Hi guys, how you guys doing? Let me just wave at you guys. Hang on. Okay, hang on. Thanks, you guys. Thanks, you guys, for being here. Hey, guys. So today I really want to talk about fear, and I know that in my life, I have struggled a lot with fear in the past, and I've learned a lot about it too. And I think, isn't it true that we kind of learn a lot just by experience? And so, really, what I just want to talk about is I just want to have like an open, candid kind of conversation. I don't have any dialogue today. When I do my lives, I always get inspired on what topic to talk about. And I seem to always get that inspiration come Mondays. Mondays are a day that I go see my mom and I travel a long distance. And as I'm in the car alone, I get a lot of drops of inspiration that I believe is spirit. So, so as I was driving this week, it was about fear. And I thought, okay. So, and I really wanted today to just kind of talk off the cuff. I mean, I like to talk off the cuff anyway, but I would really want to hear from you guys because I know we all struggle with it to some degree. And for a lot of us, it's different things that we're afraid of, right? Different things that make us stay in that fear zone. And what I really just want to do is kind of maybe shine some light a little bit in that area and maybe help move you out of the fear zone by really just sharing with you things that have worked for me, things that I've taken on board that I have found to be super helpful and it really makes fear shrink. And so that's kind of what I do. Hi, Bonnie. How are you? Hey, Gia. Are you warm with all that snow in Texas, girl? Hey, Arlene. How are you? Let me just say hello to a few people. Hey, Kathy. Hi, Lori. Hey, Terry. You made it. Yay. Hi, Evie. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Christine. Hey, Melissa. I'm doing this without my glasses. Hey, Melissa. Hi, Kim. Hi, Alyssa. How are you, sweetheart? I saw her yesterday. How you doing? And all of you guys here, Julia and Tammy. Hi, honey. How you guys doing? Hey, all of you guys. So that's what I kind of want to work on today. And again, as I do this speaking, I never try to be an expert in anything because I'm not, and I don't ever try to be. But again, we all in life have learned a little something. I myself have learned a little something, and in this area, with a lot of things that have happened in my life, fear has really been prominent in many things, and I learned something interesting about it, and that's kind of what I want to share today. So first of all, let's like think about what it would be like to not have any fear. Let's just take a moment here and just kind of think about how would your life be if you didn't have any fear? What would it be like if you just stepped into your day every day completely feeling empowered and having no fear? It would be pretty amazing, right? So, and I really think that that's an important step for us to first understand that, recognizing how it feels when we have fear and then how it feels when we don't have fear. And what feels better, right? So obviously not having fear feels better. And so what I want to kind of speak a little bit about um, is an analogy I want you to kind of think about when fear steps into your life. And I don't want to talk about, I'm not talking about danger fear, like danger of your life. I'm not talking about, fear in regards to danger and you're fearing for your life that you're going to die. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the fear that kills your joy, fear that kills your happiness, fear that kills your potentials, your possibilities, takes you away from your opportunities, that keeps you in quicksand, not able to move forward. That's the fear I'm talking about today. So I just want to have clarity here that that's the kind of stuff that I want to work on today. As a medium, I love so much creating these readings where I really help somebody forward through the messages their loved ones give, that it really helps them forward. But I've also been one that has also loved to inspire others. That's also been a wonderful passion of mine. And what I love is how the spirit world will work with me in both ways, that I can be that person that can help inspire others, and I hope I do, because that's really what my goal is. I love doing that, and also do the mediumship. And so when I do these Monday dries, I'm always being inspired, and then I just kind of go with it, right? And I've learned a long time ago, just go with what you're feeling, and I think that that's really important. But what happens when we feel fearful? And we are the only creatures. We are the only creatures. Hi, hang on one second. Let me just talk to. Hang on one second. Let me just give a hello here. Hang on. Okay, one second. We're going to get into this, I promise, because I'm excited about talking about this. Let me just see if that worked. Okay, so let me just see if that works here. I'm really excited about talking about this topic. Hey, where are you? Are you there, Tammy?
I'm here.
Oh, I can't see you, honey.
That's okay. You don't want to see me.
Come on, girl. Be brave. Be brave. Be brave.
I'm enjoying listening to you, so keep going.
Okay. Thanks for chiming in, honey. Love you. Look at those pretty flowers. Okay, honey, chime in. Love you.
I love you. Hold on.
There you are. Okay. There we are. I think we're gone here. Okay. Anyway, so I really want to kind of talk a little bit about fear. I want to talk about how fear shows up, why it shows up. Because what's really interesting, what I have found is there's a reason why fear shows up. And so many of us maybe don't see that. And I think that if you can understand why fear shows up, you're going to kind of maybe have a different relationship with fear. And that's my hope is for you. Okay. That's what I really want to say. And, but we are the only creatures on this entire planet that really has fear, because we are the ones who create and think and through our emotions, so we create through our emotions, and we feel through our emotions, and we and by doing that, we in our mind, so like in our mind, we use these emotions that we get, these uncomfortable feelings, and we start creating these thoughts and these scenarios, and and those types of things really make fear really big. And we're the only creatures that really do that, and really it's because of our mind. We have this beautiful creative mind, and if we can just learn to kind of maneuver it a little bit better, it would be awesome. And so I just want to kind of explain to you a little bit that our fear goes through our emotions. So when we're afraid, or when we feel fearful, it's about the emotions that we're feeling. And I think that that's important to kind of understand. And what I really want you to understand, like a lot of people will be afraid of certain things. And it's different for all of us, right? The things that I've been afraid of might be different than things that you were afraid of, or similar too, right? So there's a lot of people who are afraid of being alone. They're afraid of that. They're afraid of being of not having success, or they're afraid of failure, or there's so many different things that keep us we have something we want, but then our mind starts going and we start creating these scenarios in our mind that starts painting different outcomes that aren't really even factual. That most of the stuff that we're afraid of or the things that we fear aren't really real anyway. It's a little bit make believe. A lot of the fears that we hold within us are not real. They're a lot of times maybe fear that someone has given us, someone has spoken to us in a way that made us start thinking differently about ourselves, and that starts building upon that. If we hang out a little bit too long there, that fear kind of gets bigger, and we start creating bigger scenarios of that little thing that was like mentioned to us, right? We can make it much bigger because we're creative, because we have this beautiful mind, and we use those emotions. So if an emotion comes to us that feels uncomfortable, now we're going to play with that a little bit in our mind, and now it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and now we're decorating all sorts of outcomes that really aren't even going to happen. And so much of fear is not even things that are going to even materialize, and yet we spend so much of our time worried about it. And so, what I kind of want to tell you a little bit is what I would love for you to do is create a different relationship with fear. And I got this kind of little download here about something that happened to me that I'll share. And this was really the starting point of how I looked at fear differently. Right. And maybe you can resonate with this and maybe take what I'm going to say right now and put it in a perspective for you and what's going on in your life. Right. So here we go. So I remember being 27 years old, and I'm sitting on the top of my stairs, and I had just gotten separated from my first husband, and he had just moved out all of the furniture out of my house. And I've talked about this once before. I don't know if it was in a workshop or maybe even briefly on a live, but I remember being 27, sitting on those stairs with two little kids upstairs, 3 and 4, and really just afraid. And when he took everything out of the house, not everything, he left me the guest room, bedroom, and he left me the kids' bedrooms, and he left me a couch. So that's what I had. And the rest of this 3,500 square foot house was emptied. And as I sat on the top of the stairs, I saw a vision. And that vision that I saw upstairs as I sat, I was looking down into my living room that connected to my dining room, and it was empty space. And that vision that I looked at really created a lot of fear. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh, this house is empty. Oh my gosh, I'm alone. So this house, this empty space refers to me. Now I know I'm alone. Now I'm alone. How am I going to do this? And then I heard one of the kids upstairs, waking up from a nap. I'm like, I'm really on my own. And I started to get really terrified and really afraid of what this meant to me. I had no money in my bank account. I didn't have a job. I was a stay-at-home mom for 7 years. And all of a sudden, I was now really clearly on my own. And the vision of those rooms, as I looked from up top from the stairs, really showed me that. And I was really afraid. And not having the money, not knowing what I was going to do, how am I going to take care of the kids, all these things. And now I just started multiplying from looking at that empty living room, dining room, started creating all of these visions in my head. And I started designing in my mind all of these scenarios. And then I started taking the things that he had said to me before he left, how I was nothing and how I wasn't going to make it, and how I needed him, and without him I was nothing, and I wasn't going to make it, and I didn't have a college education. And then all of those things started stemming. So now I'm looking at this room, and now I'm feeling alone. I'm really terrified. Everything is empty. It's starting to showcase in different ways in my mind. And now I'm hearing the words, and now that's escalating. So now I'm starting to paint scenarios in my mind of, wow, I'm over my head. Wow, I'm never going to get through this. Maybe he's right. No one's going to want me. Maybe I don't have what it takes to make it. Maybe he's right. I need a college education. Maybe, and all of these words that someone else had dropped into my head started creating fear within me. And when I'm looking at that room and I see the empty space, I'm like terrified, right? So now I start really starting to decorate these this fear with a lot of other stuff, right? And it starts piling on and it becomes overwhelming. Have you guys ever felt that way? Overwhelmed, like your fear can overwhelm you. Let me know, throw some hearts. Let me know something you have been afraid of. Let me know that you're resonating with this so far, because I really want to make sure that when I get to the point here, and I will, that you are following me, because that's important. So I want to know, like, what was it for you that was really fearful? What vision did you see in your life that made you afraid, that made you think that you couldn't go forward, right? And for me, it was that fear of needing to be a mom. Now I'm all by myself. The room is empty. Now I hear these words coming into me. I'm now creating all these scenarios in my mind. And now everything is just terrifying to me. And then, and it wasn't that day, it was like the next day. I had a little moment, and then the next day I sat myself back on those stairs. And I don't know why I did this. I believe I was moved with spirit to do this. I really do, because it's then when the guides came in very strong with me, where I started really feeling presence around me a lot, because I was in my greatest need at that time. So it would make sense, right? And I didn't have a lot of loved ones on the other side. So, and I found myself wanting to go back to those stairs and sitting myself on those stairs again and looking back down at that living room and looking back down at that dining room that was emptied. And this time I looked in that space and I saw the room. And then in that moment, I decided, do I want this empty room to paralyze me? Because that's what it was doing. Or do I want that room to empower me? And I knew in that moment I had a decision and a choice to make. Do I want to stay on these stairs and look at that empty room and be afraid? Or do I want to start decorating that room differently? And what could I fill it with? So I utilized that empty space and created a photography, right? So I created a photography. I didn't have work. I didn't know what I was going to do. And it was something that I wanted to do. And so I just did it. So that empty space became my training room for learning photography. And I used that extra space that was now empty, which was really perfect, because I wouldn't have been able to do it otherwise. So when I started getting the equipment and setting things up, I started saying, how amazing is this, that I have this empty space that just a few days prior I was devastated over. And now I chose to look at that empty space differently, and it empowered me. It was that decision that was made that allowed me to say, wow, I'm either going to be in this place and I'm going to look at that empty room and it's going to make me make me afraid and feel like I can't go forward, and I actually do need him and I can't do this on my own, and I am scared, or I'm going to say it's going to empower me. And in that moment, I had to make that decision. So when I started creating the lights and the all the stuff, the backdrops and all that kind of stuff, I began to feel empowered. Now, I didn't have a clue also, by the way, on how to even take a picture. So let's just be clear. It's a desire I had, but didn't know how to do it. And again, as I'm setting it up, thoughts again, you're the worst photographer ever. I can't believe you think about wanting to be a photographer. That's never going to work. Again, we have a lot of people in our life that sometimes don't say nice things to us, that sometimes want to keep us from our glory, want to keep us from our successes. People who, sometimes they say things and they don't even mean that they don't even realize that they're being that way. But we are so sensitive to it, right? And we just take it in. And then all of a sudden, oh my gosh, what am I thinking as I'm putting up the background stands and I'm putting up the lights and trying to figure out how it all works? Am I over my head? Are those words right? Am I a crappy photographer? Do I not know how to do this? I don't know. But how would you know if you don't try? So I just did it anyway. Even when people were against it, even when people didn't believe in me, even when I had so much against me, not being trained, not knowing how to do it. And you can use this scenario in your life in whatever area it works for you. But to understand that by sitting on the steps and looking at what I was afraid of wasn't going to make my fear go away. But what did was being able to say, I'm going to dress up that room. And I chose to step into that space and decorate it in a way that would serve me and allow me to feel more in my power. And when I did that, everything changed because I started getting into this wonderful way of being able to create photographs and be able to do that. And I started learning photography and I was teaching myself. And the person that said, you're a lousy photographer. You can't even frame a picture. You're going to be a photographer? What, are you joking? I was able to put that aside and just push through. And through practice and through teaching myself and becoming my own teacher, never took a class. You know, I built a business. I had like a couple $100 in the bank. I had no money to pay rent. I was being foreclosed on our house. He wasn't paying the mortgage. I was being foreclosed on. I didn't have any money in the bank. I had nothing. I had no alimony trust. I was really on my own. And that's scary. And so you can either sink or you can swim. And in that moment, I had to decide. And sometimes we are placed in positions in our life where we have to choose. Am I going to sink or am I going to swim? And to know that if you swim, you're going to arrive. And sometimes we just need somebody in our life that's going to tell us that we can do it. And luckily, I had one person in my life that said that I could do anything. And if I wanted to do this, I could be my best. And by doing that, I was able to push forward. And sometimes we just need somebody in our corner. And so for any of you who do not feel you have somebody in your corner, I would like to be that person today to let you know I am in your corner. And if you are afraid of whatever it is, step into it. And what I want to talk about is, I went on and built a very successful business. I traveled 15 states doing my photography. I had 56 accounts. I had clients all over the world. I had celebrities and music industry professionals and NFL and NBA. I had people that came all to this girl who didn't know how to work a camera and didn't know an f-stop. So if you think that you don't have the ability within you, but you have the desire, then I want to tell you that you have the ability within you if you have the desire. But do you have the trust in yourself and the faith within you to say, I understand it's scary, but I'm going anyway? Because what I have found with fear is it is always the doorway to your possibilities and your opportunities. And fear is what is honestly, truly what I have found over and over again. And I'll give you another example, that what fear really does is it allows you to look at something. And it's like this room, and allows us to look at something and says, are you ready for this? Are you going to open the door? And I believe so much that when we are afraid of something, I really believe it's because there's something great for us on the other side of that. That fear of being in photography, that fear of having that empty room and just going for it anyway, and not really having any skill set to do it, just the desire to have it, I had to lead with that only. And that desire is what taught me how to teach myself and taught me how to learn the f-stops and the shutter speeds and taught me all these things. And what I just want to say, it went on to not only run my own business that I didn't know I could do, but it made me an excellent photographer, where people wanted to travel from all over the country to be with this girl who didn't know how to do an f-stop at one time. And how things changed. And not only that, but I built a team of people to work with me. And from that, I started training others. And from that, I started mentoring others. That girl that was setting up lights in that living room that used to be scared because the furniture was taken out is the same girl that learned and taught herself, believed in herself, and said, I'm going to sink or I'm going to swim. And I'm choosing to swim. And I just went for it. And that is what led me. And I just want to tell you that if you are feeling afraid, step anyway. Step out of it. Step forward. Do it anyway, because I promise you, on the other side of that is where your possibilities and your opportunities and your potential sits. I promise you. I promise you. And what I just want to say with that also is to, let's take another scenario, right? Because some of us say, I'm afraid to be alone, and I'm afraid to be alone, and, I'm lonely. Well, I'm lonely. I'm afraid to be alone. And that's a real fear too, right? Especially if we've gone through other relationships. And I had some of that too, and again, here comes fear. Here I am on vacation. Here I see this super cute guy that I saw the night before. Here he is sitting there all by himself at the pool area at the resort. And I had the courage to go up to him, who I didn't know his name. And I said, I have an extra seat at my dinner table. Would you like to join me? And he said no. He turned me down. That guy at the pool turned me down. And that could be a lot to take. And a lot of us are afraid. Am I going to have this relationship? Can I date? And what if it doesn't work out? So what if it doesn't work out? There'll be another one. But what if it does work out? How do you know if you don't try? You have got to step out of the fear and step into the possibilities of what could be awaiting you. And that's really, really important. And what I just want to say here with that also is that guy that said no to me, that turned me down, showed up 20 minutes later at my table and said, I had a change of heart. Is the seat still available? That man became my husband, and he and I got married 5 months later. And I know for certainty that had I not had the courage and stepped out of the fear and be the girl that actually asked the guy for joining me to dinner, that I know he wouldn't have been my husband today. So we have to also understand that sometimes we need to make the first move a little bit. We got to step out of our own fear zone. And even though he said no to me, and even if he didn't show up at that table 20 minutes later, I know that there would have been someone else. But at least I had pushed myself and had courage to try. Guys, we got to try. We have to step out of the fear and try. And on the other side of that fear is your possibilities. That guy that said no to me became my husband. And it wouldn't have happened had I not been the one that stepped into asking him first. He wouldn't have asked me. So we have to also understand that, we got to be okay if things don't work out. We got to be okay if we try something and it doesn't feel good right in the back. We don't know, it could still work out. Even if it didn't work out that minute, it could still work out. But what will never work out is if you never try, if you never step out of fear, then it could never work out. That's that sinking swimming that I speak about. There was a woman that came to me last week, beautiful woman, French, had a gorgeous accent and really pretty. And she was sitting and she was just overwhelmed with fear. She came to me for a life reading. And as you know, if you know me with my life readings, I'm not a big one that likes to be on predictions. I really like to help you forward when we're feeling stuck. And she was stuck in fear. And she had a husband, a marriage of 20 years, and he left her. And he left her for someone else. Some of you guys here might relate to that. And the marriage didn't work out. It was 20 years, and she was really beat up about it. And she lived in this room of fear. Fear that she was too old to meet somebody else. She was in her mid-50s. Too old to meet somebody else. Now, her husband had already moved on. When she came and sat with me, she had already been away from her husband 5 years. And she had been stuck in this place of fear for 5 years. Her husband had moved on. She didn't. She was still wearing her wedding ring. She was still wearing her wedding ring. Now, what does that say? I feel protected with this ring. I'm staying in this comfort zone. I'm not willing to expand myself out to date because I don't feel I'm going to get anybody because I'm too old. And she lived 5 years as she watched her husband move on with his life, that she wouldn't. And so I had this lovely session with her to help her forward with this, you see, and taking off the ring and moving forward. And there is no age on love unless you say there is. What are you putting in this mind? What are you creating in this room of relationships? So for her, she felt she was too old. My mom, she met her boyfriend at the mailbox in her retirement facility at 76. She was heartbroken that her grandson didn't come for dinner. She just made goulash. No one to go have goulash. She just prepared this whole dinner. She was heartbroken the grandson canceled last minute. She went to go check her mail. There was this guy standing right there. Coincidence? And there he was all by himself. And she said, "Courage. I have a pot of goulash on my stove. Would you like to join me for dinner tonight?" Later, she found out he loves food. And this was a wonderful thing for her. That was 12 years ago, and they're still together today. My mom is 88, and he takes amazing care of her. He's an angel. And this is a man that was just standing at the mailbox, and my mom had the courage, not knowing if he would say yes or no, not knowing if he had a relationship or not, and just asked and took that risk, took that step out of how she was feeling. And they've been together for 12 years. She was 76 when she met him. There was no age on love. And so we have to understand that if my client was keeping that ring on, she was not helping herself. She was keeping herself in a place that was not allowing her to step out of her fear and move forward. But once we take the ring off, now that gives her a little bit, honestly, of her power back. Because really wearing that ring for 5 years when her husband's with someone else is really not empowering her. But taking that ring off was. Do you see the difference? And sometimes we have to be bold and brave. And even if it's uncomfortable. That is a beautiful woman. She's young. She has every right to have a relationship, and she will, but not with a wedding band on her finger, and not if she isn't willing to step out. So we have to take baby steps and be able to step out of our fear and step into the zone of our possibilities. And so I just kind of want to share that a little bit. And, there's a lot of things that keep us from our greater self. And personal power is another thing that we often feel we lose. Personal power, where we feel empowered at one time in our life, and then circumstances happen in our life where we feel disempowered. And that happens also. And then I'm going to share another little story here, and then I'm going to explain to you what I'd like you to start doing and how you can start creating a new relationship with fear. So I just want you to have a little bit of ideas here so when I give you this little visual, you'll know what to do with it. Yeah. So what I want to say too here with this is there was somebody that came to me just recently, and sweetest girl, really sweet. And she has just left an abusive relationship. Now we all know how that must feel if you're in a relationship that's abusive. And that can really put your thumb down on your personal power. And it could really have you second guess yourself. And when you're living in a relationship that is abusive, there is fear. There is fear of the words, there is fears of the actions, there is fear. And there is fear of losing yourself along the way. And this girl was experiencing all of that. And she left that relationship. And she left the town, and she left the relationship, and she tried to step somewhere new. And she came to me for a life reading also. And I went into her energy and started getting guided to things, and it led us right to this place. And what she said to me was, and I said, "What are you afraid of?" And what she said was of having her personal power back, of not getting her personal power back because of what she had gone through, what she had experienced, how she didn't feel quite herself. Obvious, right? That you would feel that way, right? So I had tremendous compassion for her, and I also felt so victorious for her. Why? Because she left the relationship. And here she's sitting here afraid, in fear of not getting her personal power back. And she was not really seeing outcomes and circumstances. And I said to her, girl, honey, you left the relationship. You're already stepping into your power. Don't you see? Sometimes we don't even realize that the steps that we make are leading us to better. And for her, she was so worried about her personal power that she wanted so much to feel better and have her empowerment and be in control of her life again. And she was so afraid that that wasn't going to happen. But you see, that very issue of her leaving her relationship, being able to have the courage and the bravery to just pack up, how she did it, it doesn't matter. The fact that she did is what matters. That is personal power. That is stepping out of the fear zone. And I was so happy for her and pleased for her, but she didn't really see it that way. So sometimes we don't always look at our steps, and we don't always look at the steps that we have made towards stepping out of our fear. So I think it's important that we take a minute and give ourselves a pat on the back a little bit of the efforts that we make and the little small steps that we do make. And in this situation, it was a major step out of fear, a major step out of the fear zone, because she decided to love herself more and to leave something that was not feeling right to her. That is your power. And this is the beginning of so much more for her, you see. And so we have to also understand that when we are taking steps out of our fear and we're making steps into what is possible, it's going to show up. That girl's door is going to open. And she's going to see a life that is beautiful and great because she was willing to face that fear and go anyway. And I know for certainty she is going to have a really happy life because she has told herself in that very moment, I'm not going to stay this way. I'm not going to live this way. I'm not going to be this way. I am choosing better, choosing more, choosing something else. And that was her, like me, looking down on that living room. She decided to design it differently. And that meant leaving the relationship, and it meant leaving her home. But that's okay. We can redesign. What's important is that we have our personal power. And she's on her way. Do you see? Does this make sense, you guys? Are you resonating with all of this? Hi, Tina. Hi, Sandy. And so is what I just want to say. So I just want you to look at fear as opportunity. Look at fear as opportunity, because really what fear is doing is saying, look at this. I want you to look at this. I want you to look, and I want you to get closer and closer and closer. I want you to dive in here. I want you to open the door. And in our mind, we create all of these scenarios, this room in our mind, our room. We'll call it the room of relationships, the room of fear of success, our fear of being alone, our fear of abandonment, right? It could be anything. Whatever that fear is, we'll create that room. Whatever that is for you, I want you now to make a room. And I want you to understand that when you are afraid, it's okay. All it means is you need to spend time walking there, that there's something waiting for you there. And you can't touch it, get it, achieve it, have it if you're not willing to open the door. So another example is with my mediumship. So I just want to share a little examples to see if it resonates with you. And again, I just want to share things that are real that happened to me and how fear led me on my trail and made my life happy. That it couldn't have happened if I didn't embrace that fear and go anyway. So 2 things with mediumship. I'll talk quickly and then we're going to make this room. Okay. So some of you know, if you've read my book Destination Self, or if you've been following me, you know, Edgar, my guides, came to me first with tremendous energy, right? They were like electricity, strong energy that just soared around me, that was scared me to death. I didn't know it was my guides. I just knew it kept happening and it kept freaking me out. I would leave the room. I would run out of the room. It would happen. It would be like, you can just think of what surges of electricity feels that would be surrounding you. Like it was so strong. And I didn't know what was going on. And, you know, I was early in my development and I didn't connect the dots. And so I just kept running out of the room, right? Running away from what was scaring me. And then it happened again. And then I was going to bed and there it was again, like that. And this time I stepped in and I said, who is this and what do you want? I was fierce. Like I was done. Like I'm not taking this anymore. Like I owned it. I stepped in and I just took charge. And they said, I am your tutor. It is time for you to know me. And then the energy went away. I woke up the next morning to my guide at the foot of my bed. And our journey together began. Now, if I was unwilling to identify what that energy was, if I was unwilling to step into that place where I was scared and want to know more, that was my doorway. It opened. From then, you know the story. We've written 2 books. We're teaching, we're channeling letters, we're working with mediumship, we're working with life readings, we're working together. It opened the door. But that could not have happened if I did not embrace it and say, who is this? What do you want? And stand up to that, what was scaring me. And then I realized it was my guide just wanting to talk to me and wanting to work with me and wanting to make himself known to me. And how gorgeous. And I think, like, wow, that would be just devastating if I didn't just push through that fear. And how many times have you been afraid of something? And you could have maybe stepped into it. What would have been on the other side of that? And I just want to inspire you a little bit to understand that when you're afraid of something, it's only because it's trying to show you more. It's trying to bring you more, not show you more fear, but show you what your potential is, show you what your possibilities are, show you your opportunity. It's about, you can't get there if you're afraid. You have to be brave. And it's about stepping out and understanding that fear is opportunity. That fear is showing you possibilities. That fear often is showing you your potentials and trying to place you on your road. Have you ever thought of fear that way? Have you ever thought of fear actually trying to guide you? Trying to put you somewhere? Trying to lead you? And you just need to connect to it. And it's kind of like my visual is like, it's got this, here's the fear and it's like all this, and then all of a sudden you face it and then it disintegrates and then up comes what's been waiting for you. And that's what I do. When I get fear now, I say, bring it. Oh, yay. What's going to happen for me now? Where is this going to lead me now? Where am I going to go now? I look at fear now and I go for it. Even if it makes me nervous. Example, my Saturday sessions with Edgar. I started with the letters from Spirit and I started these Saturday sessions. And I knew there was a reason why they wanted a classroom. I didn't understand all of it. And that's the thing. We don't always have to have everything figured out and know. We can step into this fear and allow it to show us along the way. We can let that fear, we could step into that fear and allow it to disintegrate and let that road be given to us and just follow it. We don't got to know what it's all got to look like. And so I did these letters from Spirit, right? These Saturday sessions with Edgar. So I did my first one Saturday. They're once a month, the first Saturday of every month. And of course you're nervous. Will anybody resonate with this? Will people like this? You know, nerves, right? I can't say fear, nerves, right? Will they like it? I'm changing it from going Facebook. I'm going on Zoom now. Will people want it? Will people want to spend $15? Will I be able to deliver enough content and stuff to make people feel they had a good experience? Because I'm always about that. And, like, let's see how it goes, but I'm going to try it anyway. Okay. So we had 12 people that came on, and I said, this is an opportunity. And I'm nervous, but there's an opportunity here. And the opportunity was, I'm going to read the letter, the teachings that the guides gave me, and then if I feel them, I'm going to bring them into the room. And I'm going to allow myself to step away and allow the guides to step in and to give a message to those that sat for the Saturday sessions. Now, I had only done that once before in my life. I've always done channeling privately, and I was nervous. And anyone that was there on that Saturday, will know that there was a little nerves in the beginning, you see, because it's all of me and I got to bring them, but then it's a little less of me, a little more of them, a little less of me, a little bit more of them, until we can kind of take off. And so I was very nervous. Will we take off? Or am I just too nervous to actually do this? So I was a little afraid, but I did it anyway. And they came and they showed up. And what it taught me and what it showed me was more opportunity, more potential within me, that we can actually teach a workshop together. And had I not taken the step of being a little scared and doing it anyway, I wouldn't have been able to prove to myself that that could happen. Do you understand? So even in that moment, writing 2 books with the guides, doing 31 letters on Facebook Live with the guides, doing all these things, channeling for 2 years with the guides, just with me and them. And it's like, you think I would be, but I wasn't. I was nervous. Sorry. I was nervous. And so, but I just want you to understand that even today, I still get nervous. But what I do now is I go for it. I tackle it. I never allow fear to stop me. I actually know it's trying to talk to me. And what I want you to understand is that your fear is talking to you. Your fear is trying to lead you somewhere. Your fear is leading you somewhere. So please have a different connection with your fear. Allow your fear to guide you, to allow you to open the door. So here's a room. And let's say a relationship. Here's this room. I have a fear of relationships. I'm not going to have one. I'm not going to find my Mr. Right. I'm not going to find my soulmate. Every guy I've had has been a narcissist. My husband was a narcissist. I can't seem to find the right guy. So here's this room that you have in your thoughts, right? We have emotion. Our emotions give us thoughts, and we create through these thoughts. And now we're creating these pictures, these paintings, and we're designing and decorating this room. We're creating this room. We're designing this room, relationships, for instance. And we have been living in this room, sitting a lot of time in this room, perhaps as an example, feeling like I'm not going to find anybody. I'm not going to find anybody. I seem to always get the guys that are narcissists, or I just can't really find anyone I click with. I just something. So you start painting things and you start designing this room that you keep visiting every day. You keep sitting in this space and you're making things really uncomfortable. Your thoughts and emotions towards what you're feeling is making you feel emotional, and you're painting things like on the walls. Every guy's a narcissist, for instance. I'm going to be alone. I'm never going to find anybody because it's the coronavirus, or it's this, or it's whatever it is, right? It's really hard to date. I can't really, everybody just wants something, and you start creating whatever it is for you. And you begin to start taking these emotions and they start creating imagery and more emotions that start adding to your fear. And now you've got this narcissist on the wall and you've got this on the wall, and now it's uncomfortable. So every time you visit relationships, you now are sitting in this space. And none of it's true. Yeah, there might be narcissists out there, but there's a lot of good guys too. So what would feel better? How can we decorate that room differently? How can you make that room and that space in your mind different? Start designing it differently. How do you design it differently? By creating different thoughts, having different associations to what it is that's creating that fear. So instead of the narcissist on the wall, how about step out of that room for a second and look into that room. Step out of that room of relationships and look into it. Be the observer of it. What is it have I been thinking about? What emotions have I been having around this topic? What is it that's holding me back? And start looking at it and, like, for instance, pull something out. Maybe it's a chair. Just joking, but maybe it's a chair. Look at it. What is it about the narcissist, for instance? Just an example. That freaks me out. What is it about it that makes me so afraid? So then you're going to get these feelings that remind you of this narcissist that maybe you had in your life or in a relationship, and it brings up all this fear, and it makes you not want to go through that again, and therefore you're afraid to step forward into something else. And now, so you keep creating this stuff. So now you've painted this lovely room and you've made it really uncomfortable. So what I just want you to do is design it differently. How about instead of that narcissist on the wall, why don't you put a picture on the wall of two people walking down the beach holding hands? That's possible too. Holding hands. How about create a vision of holding hands walking down the beach instead? Put that on your wall of your relationship room. And instead, beaches are around. It's possible. You can hold hands. For every person that wants to have a relationship, there's another person that also wants one. And you associating your relationship differently by choosing to have different feelings about relationship and understanding that the guy that you had that might have been the narcissist isn't going to be the next guy. You got to give the new guy a fair shake and give him a fair chance and start creating a room that feels better to sit in, where you can create what it is that you want when it comes to relationships. So start decorating that room. What does that look like for you? And start sitting in that. I have a meditation that's called the Artist Studio. It's on my website. It's free. This would be a good one to take with whatever it is you're afraid of. Start putting out there what it is you want it to look like instead, and start creating those better images. Start decorating your space differently. And it's kind of like when I sat on the stairs and I looked down at that empty room made me feel terrified. So I just started making use of that room. And 3-4 months later, my brother built me a studio in that little garage, and I was able to afford furniture, and I filled that room. And I found the prettiest furniture that I loved the most, that really made me happy. And I started filling that space again with things that felt good to me. But until I was able to afford to do that, I utilized that space to help empower me. So start decorating your room with empowered feelings and being empowered, and start getting rid of things that don't serve you well, that don't keep you in a place of empowerment, that make you feel disempowered. And I just use decorating as an example, because I think that when we step out, we can really take a look at what that room looks like, and maybe how we've been spending too much time in all the things that make us afraid of that relationship. And I use relationship as an example. So there's some things that we can do in regards to stepping out of fear, right? So one of the things that we can really do that really helps when we step out of fear is writing down our fears. Because it's one thing when we have it in our room that we keep having these thoughts, these emotions that create these thoughts that don't feel good, and then we escalate it and it gets bigger and bigger, and it becomes these things that wasn't even there to begin with, and now we've made these big things. We're wonderful creators. And instead, analyze what's in that space of yours and pull something out. Narcissist, for instance. Let's look at that. What is it about being a narcissist that makes me afraid? What makes me fearful of relationships because of a narcissist? And start making notes about that. What is it about that? Because when you can pull something out of your room of fear, your room of fear, and you can pull it out and you can actually analyze it and look at it, guess what? It becomes a lot less fearful. Because now you're in control. Because now you are stepping in and saying, I'm taking control here. I'm looking at this because I can control how I associate narcissism with me and relationships. And it's my choice on how I want to look at that, or if I want to believe that there's another one around the corner or there's a good guy around the corner. That's my choice, right? We cannot control what goes on outside of us, but we can control the inner world within us. The outside world we can't control. And yes, we've had people that have hurt us, that have harmed us, that have not been good to us. It's happened to probably most all of us. And we can't always control outcomes and circumstances and things that come our way, but we can control the decisions that we have on how we choose to deal with them. And your room is your decision on how you want to decorate it. And I recommend filling it with things that empower you, like my lighting in my living room. And understand that when you, and so another thing that you could do the writing, right? Affirmations are a wonderful way, right? Because let's say you have a job going forward and you're afraid of the job. I don't think I'm worthy of this job. I don't think I'm going to get this job. I had a client a few weeks back about this, right? Didn't think she was going to get it. She was really terrified. Remember the dream I talked about with the gorilla in the backyard? Anyway, there's this fear about that. And so what I just want to say here with that is you could have this fear about this job, like you really want it, right? And that almost makes us afraid, doesn't it? Because you want it so bad, it kind of puts a little fear there. But then you're worried about, like, are you going to be qualified? And I think sometimes affirmations are wonderful, and I'll share with you the one I always use. But an affirmation that could be really good if you're going for a job interview and you're worried about how many people you're interviewing, or maybe you've been on 4 or 5 interviews already, and they're still trickling it down, and you still don't know. You can, instead of saying, is this going to work for me, am I going to get it, I'm kind of nervous, I don't think I did this right, or I don't know if I answered the questions right, or I don't know. You can instead say, I am ready for this job, I am prepared for this job, I want this job, and I'm qualified for this job. Doesn't that feel more empowering than stepping into a job interview worried and nervous on whether or not you're going to have what it takes to actually get it? But if you start off with an affirmation that makes you feel empowered, it will help you forward. I am capable. I have the qualifications for this job. I want it. I'm ready for it. And it's mine to be had. Way more empowering. So affirmations, I use one always that says, I got this. I keep things simple. I got this. I got this. I got this. Oh, more fear? I'm afraid of this? I got this. I got this. And I think that when you become making a habit of having these type of affirmations within you, you change the way you think. Now I look at fear and I embrace it. I look at fear now and I know it's going to show me something. There's something for me on the other side of that. I can't wait to meet it. I just have to bust through. So think of like, the cheerleaders on the cheerleading field. Like, you guys had kids that played football or whatever it is. You have the cheerleaders, they have the banners, and then the players, they bust through the banner, they bust through the banner, like when they run on the field. You know what I'm talking about? They might even do that in professional, I don't know. But, they bust through it. Think of it like that. Give yourself a visual that feels empowering. Bust through it. And start the game. And get going. So much of us stepping out of our fear and into our possibilities is a decision to do so. And that is entirely up to you. And that how you see yourself internally is entirely up to you. Outside, we can't help what goes on. Inside, in our inner world, we have power and control of how we choose to see things, how we choose to step into things, how we choose to tackle things. That's on us. So put your cape on and go for it. So another thing perhaps maybe that we could do for helping you to step out of fear is control. Because a lot of us like to control situations. A lot of us like to have control because a lot of us kind of manage our fear through control. But really, we can't manage everything. And we don't always have control over everything. And so we have to also understand that we need to let things go sometimes, that we're not in control of everything. Again, outside things and circumstances can't always work out the way we think they're going to work out. We don't always have control over that. But how you respond to it is in your control. So if you are one that needs to have control, then control how you respond to things that are not the way you like it. And that might help you then. But, you got to let go of a lot of the control, because you can't control everything. And because of that, and you realize you can't control everything, it actually creates more fear. So it actually hinders you, not helps you. Make sense? So I just want to kind of say, let's put it to the side. And again, not have to know what the outcome is on the other side of the door. Be that football player that just goes through the banner, busts through it, and play. And see how you win. Because you will. You will win. Because when you step through fear, that is where your greatest potential sits. And as much as some of the things I have gone through in my life that have made me really afraid, it's also been the things that have led me on the greatest journey to myself and to my opportunities and possibilities. My potential, my qualities have all sat behind the fear. Not knowing if I could be a business owner, stepping into it anyway and finding out I was pretty freaking good. Not knowing that I was a medium and finding out not only am I, but I got guides that want to work with me. Do you understand? And there's qualities within you too, but sometimes we have to embrace the fear and understand that it's just trying to show you. It's just trying to lead you. It's getting your attention. Are you listening? So can you be the person that says, yes, something's a little scary now. That means I got to go this way. Who can do that? Who can do that? Let me see. I've been talking a lot, haven't I? Okay. I'm sorry. Do you guys resonate with all of this? Huh? I've been very bad on saying hello to all of you guys. I'm so sorry. Let me just see. I'm going to say hello to all of you. Okay. Let me just see here. All right. So I'm Christine Maxwell. I'm 70 years old, by myself, and my son wants me to move to Oregon to be by them. For me, it's a scary move. Suppose I don't like it. Suppose it doesn't work out. But I know I should be by my family as I get older. I'm just afraid to do this big move. Okay. Well, let's talk about that. California's not going anywhere. If you choose to go to Oregon, and if it doesn't work out and you don't feel comfortable, you can always come back. But you're never going to know if you don't try. So why not go with the idea of making this a little bit of an adventure, put yourself on a time limit, say, I'm going to try. I'm just going to try. I'm going to give it a whirl. I'm going to be brave and just step into that. And maybe I'll love it. Maybe I'll really like it. Maybe it'll be amazing, but I'm not going to know if I don't give it a whirl. And maybe being next to my family would really feel good to me. Maybe I'm really going to like being closer. Maybe it's going to feel really good. And maybe I'm really going to like the people. See, we sometimes we're so afraid because of the move. It seems so big, but there's so much there that could be waiting for you. And if you find out in a year or two you don't like it, California's still here. So do you see what I'm saying? There's always another road, but try it because you might really love it. Just saying. Let's see. Hi, Sarah. Let's see. We're FIBU live now? What? Oh, let's see here. Oh, all these comments, they're lost here. Hi, Tracy. Wow. Gia says, you are right on point. You have to always try. Terry, if we could just see how much energy and power it takes to remain in fear and to transform that power into new possibilities, that would be a game changer. It is a game changer. And listen, it's much better to utilize that energy that we have for something for our potential than it is just to sit and let it go to waste, right? Who wants to be a football player and not play the game? You don't want to sit on the bench. You want to always know that there's a chance of a greater victory. And there's always a greater victory. But if you're not willing to get into the game and you're not willing to play and you're not willing to say, you know, I might win, I might lose, and either way it's okay, I'm playing, I'm trying. And who knows what that will bring you. We have to be willing to go for it and understand that fear is really opportunity. And I know that that's a hard thing to hear for some of you, but in my experience, and again, I just like to share from my own experiences and from experiences even that clients have had, that fear is really opportunity, because every time I've stepped up to the door of fear, it has opened to beautiful things. But how many of you are afraid to open that door? And what I just want to be is that voice today, and that encouraging person today, that encouraging voice for you to just be willing to open it and to try. And that's all what my hope is for today's Facebook Live. I have quotes, of course. And I just want you to know that even me, where I tackle things, you know, I still get afraid of things. Like I told you with my Saturday sessions, I was still afraid, but I'm also proud of myself too. I'm proud of myself that I stepped into the nerves and I allowed to see if that was a potential. And I found that it was. And that's exciting. And that's exciting. So I just know that there's exciting stuff for you on the other side of that fear. And I think sometimes fear is like just a test. Like, are you ready? Can we move forward? Can we go? I just feel sometimes, fear's a big liar. I'm sorry. Fear's a liar. Fear's a big liar. So is what I just want to say, and just kind of know that. And what do they say about fear? What do they say? Fear is false evidence appearing real. Right? Fear is false evidence appearing real. And we do that so much, and we just add to that in our own thoughts that we create to the scenarios, right? Evie, sorry to know about your client, especially being a foreigner makes it harder. Yes. And maybe I should hook you two up. I'm going to see if I can find her phone number. Maybe, would you be open to that, Evie? Maybe I can hook you guys up because actually, I think she lives super close to you. She's right near my office here. So she's close to you. So would you be open to that? Maybe I can make a little friend connection for you guys. Sally, love your story. So needed to hear this right now. Thank you for sharing. Sandy Clark, wow, I had a feeling you were going to say it was your husband. That's an awesome story. Thank you. Yes. And, and it's just like, gosh, we're all just getting started. We're all just getting started. And sometimes it's past experiences. And because we've had life experience, it kind of gives us a little bit of fear, like, when I snowboard, I'm a little more afraid to snowboard today at 54 than I was at 24, So, that experience, I fell, I hurt myself, I don't really want to do that. I edge with caution. So, sometimes experiences kind of do that, because of that, but we're really just getting started. And that's what I want to share, that we're just getting started, and embrace it. And I really just want to kind of share that here, that, fear is always showing you where to go. And in my experience, that's how it's been. And I know that's going to be the experience for you as well. And just, get there and open the door is what I just want to say. Also, another thing to kind of work on when it comes to helping you step out of the fear zone, because I'm not really doing this in order because I'm kind of off the cuff. I'm not very organized here, but, do something every day that makes that you are afraid to do. So do something that you're afraid, like my Saturday sessions, right? Like I didn't take on the whole session with Edgar. I just allowed them to step in a little bit. And that was a stepping stone for me, and that was giving me confidence to maybe do it again, and then again and again, and then maybe 10 minutes would turn into 20, which would turn into 45, might turn into the whole session. So I don't know where it's going to go, and I don't need to know. All I am happy with is that I stepped into it and I tried. And that's all we can really ask of ourselves. But to stay on the sidelines and not try, you're not doing yourself any service. And even if that sideline feels safer, be comfortable being uncomfortable. Be uncomfortable being uncomfortable, because it is in those uncomfortable moments where you find the greatness. And just know that, and believe that there's greatness for you, because there is. And be willing to go after it. I think that's really it, is be willing to go after it. I'm willing to go after it, even if it's not easy, even if it's scary, even if I'm nervous, I go anyway. And I would love for you to do the same. And just try and take baby steps. It doesn't have to be major steps. It could be baby steps, but take the steps, is what I just want to say. Okay. I want to talk about something really quick here. I want to tell you that next week I am going to go live again on Thursday, and I don't know what the topic is going to be, but I'm going to go live again on next week on Thursday to let you know. My next Saturday sessions with Edgar is going to be Saturday, March 6th. You can get tickets on my website. They're $15. Their sessions are 1.5 hours, and I'm going to try it again. I'm going to try to bring in the guides again, and I hope you'll join me for this kind of collaboration and for this kind of new next step. So I'm excited about it. And so if you'd like, it's once a month, the first Saturday of every month. It's 1.5 hours. Tickets are on my website, $15. March 6th is the next one. And the topic is going to be on increasing your energy for spiritual and emotional well-being. So that is the topic for Saturday, March 6th. I would love for you to join. Also, I'm going to be live next Thursday again. I found time. And I'm going to be doing another Kisses from Heaven. And so it's going to be a Saturday, March 20th. So there's going to be tickets. They're $29. And I'm going to do another Kisses from Heaven. You can get tickets on my website. I'm going to limit the seats. But I would love to have you. It's going to be Saturday, March 20th. And I'm going to deliver messages from loved ones on the other side. So love for you to join in if you'd like. It's going to be 5 o'clock Pacific time, 6 o'clock Mountain time, 7 o'clock Central time, 8 o'clock Eastern time on Saturday, March 20th, Kisses from Heaven. I'm going to do it again. And let's have fun and connect. And Saturday sessions are 9 in the morning. Saturday, March 6th, 9 in the morning Pacific time, and 10 o'clock Mountain time, 11 o'clock Central time, and noon Eastern time, hour and a half, okay? And so we're going to be doing that again. And I really loved last a couple weeks ago. It was really great. And I thank everybody who joined. It was just, I really loved having you all there. It was really a fun group. So thank you for that. Okay, let me just see quotes. I have quotes. Let me get quotes. I have some good ones. I have some good ones too. Hang on. Let me just get those. Okay, so here's a couple of quotes that I want to share with you. And I wrote a lot down because you know what, guys? All of us struggle with fear a little bit sometimes. And so I'm going to read out the ones that I felt most empowered by. And so I want to kind of share that and let me know what you think. So let me know what you got. First of all, guys, did you resonate with this? Were you liking this live? Was this helpful? Let me know. Let me know about that. Let me just see here. Okay. Hi, Arlene. Lovely. I was just reading your message. Thank you, honey. Yes, do it. Okay, here's quotes I want to share. Okay, do the thing you fear most, and the death of fear is certain. Mark Twain. I have more. Hang on. Okay. Fear is the brain's way of saying that there is something important for you to overcome. Rachel Huber. Life shrinks or expands in proportion to one's courage. Life shrinks or expands depending on the proportion to one's courage. So when we stay in fear, we stay smaller. And when we go into our fear and step into it and embrace it, we expand. And that's where our possibilities sit. Once you become fearless, life becomes limitless. Love it. The fears we cannot conquer become barriers to our happiness. Karen Salmonson. Why do I feel I know her? Okay. I came, I saw, I took that shit over. Yes, I love that. Said a fearless woman, right? I came, I saw, I took that shit over. Said a fearless woman. So love that. Okay, that's fun. Okay. Fear is going to be a player in your life, but you get to decide how much of a player. Jim Carrey. Feel the fear and do it anyway. Thinking will not overcome fear, but action will. Clement Stone. Here's one from Taylor Swift. To me, fearless is not the absence of fear. It's not being completely unafraid. To me, being fearless is having fear. Fearless is having doubts, lots of them. To me, fearless is living in spite of those things that scare you to death. So that's from beautiful Taylor Swift. And of course, fear is a liar. So these are some quotes I just wanted to share, and hopefully some of them resonated with you. I hope today's talk helped you a little bit with, sorry, does anybody want to go on here? Hang on. Let's see. I have all these waves. Thanks, Instagram. You guys are awesome. Thank you. I know today I did not take too many questions. I was kind of off the cuff a lot today, and I just wanted to kind of stay on roll as I got going, and so I didn't want to get distracted. So because I was just speaking from just really my soul. And so I just want to say thanks, you guys, for tuning in on my lives and all of that. And, you know, I always want to help inspire you in some way. And if I can add value in some way or give you another way of looking at something that might help you forward, I always want to do that. And so, you know, I choose topics that I feel inspired to talk about or that come to me that I feel it needs to be discussed. And I just want you to know I'm so grateful for all of you and for all of you that come on my lives or join my workshops or do my do readings with me. I'm really grateful for all of you. You really allow me to do what I love, and I'm really grateful for that. And I thank you so much for spending all this time. I know my lives are always longer than they should be, but I don't know. It's just me. I guess I'm too chatty. Anyway, let me just see if there's any questions here. Let me just see if there's any questions. Hi, guys. Looking Glass. Hi there. Hi, you guys. Perfect. And I know you guys had Instagram had a bunch of join sessions, but once I got going, I didn't want to do that. So if you guys want to now, you absolutely can. But let me just see here. All these comments are down here. Let me just see. Well, okay, guys, good. All right, guys, listen, you be amazing. I just wanted to, share a little bit. Thanks for chiming in with me. I'll see you again Thursday next week. I'll do another live. I don't know what the topic is, so hopefully you're following me on Facebook or Instagram, where I'll note it on Monday what the next topic for Thursday will be. If you love my lives, I welcome you to always tune in and join and interact. I know today I didn't interact too much. I'm sorry. Sally, thank you again. Really, really needed to hear this. So grateful for you. Thank you, Sally. Sally Snyder. So thank you so much, you guys. I love all the love you show me as well. I'm so grateful for you. Please know I care about all of you, and I want so much to help you in any way I can, in even a small way, even just by doing these. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you, sweetheart. All right, you guys, you be amazing. You be amazing. My heart's to you, and be well, and I'll see you guys again real soon, okay? And until next time, bye.